JVM architecture. I had given you some basic idea of class loader, as well as I shared the notes with you guys. Okay, so perhaps today you will get your notes. This is your notes actually. This is the notes for 11 a.m. batch. So this notes I have given to you. Okay, in your Google Classroom. In the last after end of this session I will talk about this, don't worry. After end of this session I will talk about this. So you remember I told you bootstrap class loader, then extension or platform class loader, and application class loader. So let's continue with that topic. Okay, let's continue with that topic. So let me go to the presentation part. Just look at carefully. So we have been talking about this one, sir. You can see components in JVM architecture. Now, in components in JVM architecture, you can see this is the entire JVM architecture component. I told you that JVM architecture can be divided into three parts. The first part is what class loader subsystem. The second one is what runtime data area, and third one is what execution engine. This is the class loader subsystem. You can see here we have runtime data areas, and here we have what's our execution engine. So three components, basically three components. The entire JVM architecture in three components: class loader, runtime data areas, and execution engine. Okay. Now, if you go to the class loader subsystem, listen, if you go to the class loader subsystem, the main purpose of class loader subsystem for what, sir? Loading, linking, and initialization. As you can see here, as you can see, the main purpose of class loader subsystem is used for what, sir? Class loader subsystem is used for what? It is used for loading, linking, and initialization. Look at very carefully. Loading, linking, and initialization. And I told you for the loading purpose, we have bootstrap class loader, extension or platform class loader, and application or system class loader. Bootstrap class loader, extension class loader, application class loader. Then we have a linking process. Inside this linking process, we have verify module, prepare module, and then what? Resolve module. Verify module, prepare module, and what? Resolve module. And then we have finally what? Initialization part. Then we have what? Finally initialization part done here. Initialization part done here. So loading, linking, initialization. Once again, loading, linking, and initialization. Okay, so we will go. Okay, we will go to the detail. Don't worry about that. We will go to the detail. Just look at carefully, all of you. Just listen my words very carefully. So even I have given you the notes in the Google Classroom. I told you, look at, if you go to the notes, bootstrap class loader, I told you it is responsible to load the required .class file from Java API. So all the predefined classes which are provided by Java software people, who is responsible to load this? Bootstrap class loader is responsible to load. That means all the predefined classes .class file will be loaded by bootstrap class loader. It is the super class for extension or platform class loader, as well as it has the highest priority among all the class loader. This I have given you, sir, in the last class. I told you this one about the last class. Now, what about this extension platform class loader? Sir, it is responsible to load the required .class file from the ext folder. You remember extension folder, Java, JDK, JRE, ext. Correct or not? Yes, extension folder. And what about this bootstrap, sir? rt.jar, runtime.jar file. And this is responsible to load the required .class file from the extension folder. Inside the extension folder, we have jar file. What is jar file? It is a GIF file. Sir, if someone is going to ask you what is jar file in Java, sir, Java archive file. Sir, we compress our folder in Windows now. Whenever we want to send some folder to our friends through mail, first of all, what? First of all, we need to compress. It is not compulsory to compress, but just to reduce the size, we are compressing or not? Yes, we are compressing. Even we have a Java program to compress the file. Even you have in java.io package, We have some predefined classes, sir, through which you can compress the file. Yes, of course, you can 90% of the file can be compressed. I will tell you in java.io package, java.io package how to compress the file. If I forget, you just remember me at the time of dealing with java.io package compression. So folders, whatever the folder I want to send to another person through the email ID, we can compress or not. GIF file, yes. So what is jar file in Java? Java jar file is about Java level GIF file. Java level GIF file means number of dot class file we can compress. Number of dot class file we can compress and we can put inside this ext folder. Inside this ext folder, as I told you in the last class as well, while working with JDBC concept, we need to download one OJDBC14.jar file from internet, and that OJDBC14.jar file contains some predefined classes given by Oracle Corporation, vendor of the database, and we need to add that particular jar file to our Eclipse IDE. Okay, fine. So this is what extension folder, and of course it is the super class for application class loader, as well as it has the more priority than what application class loader. Of course, it has the lowest priority in comparison to what? In comparison to Bootstrap class loader, but it has the more priority in comparison to application class loader. Now, what about application or system class loader? It is responsible to load the required dot class file from the class path level. Class path level environment variable, cell, that is environment variable. It has lowest priority, as well as it is the subclass of extension class loader or platform class loader. Now, if you observe, this one is a diagram. Look at, I have created one diagram to understand this entire scenario. Listen carefully, guys. So first we will see this loading part, and then we will come back to understand this linking and then initialization. Just look at carefully, sir. The class loader subsystem follows delegation hierarchy algorithm. The class loader subsystem follows delegation hierarchy algorithm. Now, what is delegation hierarchy algorithm? Sir, whenever JVM makes a request to class loader subsystem to load the required dot class file into the JVM memory, once again, whenever the JVM request the class loader subsystem to load the required dot class file into JVM memory. Sir, when the JVM will request the class loader subsystem to load the required dot class file, let's say I'm giving you one scenario. I'm just giving you one scenario. Let's say, I have a class test. Okay, fine. I have a class test. Now this class contain, let's say, main method. So public static void main string of arguments. Okay, let's say this class is containing one main method, public static void main, and of course this is the main method. Now what will happen, sir, if you compile this program java c test.java? What will happen? Of course, after compilation we will get test.class. What we will get, sir? Test.class. This is the bytecode, sir. Test.class file, this is the bytecode. Now this test.class file, if I want to execute, first of all it must be loaded into the JVM memory. So if this test.class file I want to execute, first of all this test.class file must be loaded into the JVM memory. Correct or not? So when I when I run this program, when I execute this program, Java test, then what the JVM will do? First of all, the JVM will make a request to class loader subsystem. Listen carefully, guys. The JVM will make a request to class loader subsystem. Here, the JVM will make a request to class loader subsystem that please load test.class file. Please load test.class file into JVM memory. Now, of course, we can have multiple programs, sir. Correct or not? Yes, we can have number of programs. We can have number of class. Sir, if we have n number of class, that means n number of dot class file will be created. Listen this point very carefully. Sir, if we have n number of classes, that means n number of dot class files will be created. If we have 5 class, that means 5 dot class file will be created. If we have 10 class, 10 dot class file will be created. Please remember this point very carefully. We have n number of classes. At a time of compilation, n number of dot class files will be created. Keep in your mind. So if we have multiple classes defined by a user, so of course that many number of dot class files be created by by the compiler after compilation. I hope you are getting this point. Okay. So let's say I have defined total 3 classes in a Java file. So how many dot class files will be created? 3 dot class files will be created. The best example is what? Inheritance program. You try to compile any inheritance program, you can see n number of dot class files will be created by the Java compiler. Now listen. So all those dot class file must be loaded to the JVM memory. Whether it is a dot class given by Java software people, whether it is a dot class created by you guys, so all those dot class file will be loaded to the JVM memory. Let's suppose one more example. Let's say here what I'm doing, sir. Let's say here what I'm doing. Let's say here I'm writing what? Date d is equal to new date. Date d is equal to new date. Now you know date is a predefined class available in java.util package. Date is a predefined class available in java.util package. So import java.util.date. It is a predefined class available in java.util package. Now, this date class is given by whom? This date class is given by Java software people. And it is the responsibility of JVM to load this date.class file. To load this date.class file into JVM memory. Into JVM memory. So first of all, what will happen? Of course, when you run this program, first of all, this test.class file will be loaded to the JVM memory, and then this date.class file will be also loaded to the JVM memory. Correct or not? Yes. Now, so whenever JVM makes a request, whenever JVM makes a request to the class loader subsystem, this class loader subsystem will bypass this request to application class loader. Listen this point very carefully. Will bypass this request to application class loader. Now what the application class loader will do, sir? Application class loader will not perform anything. It will simply bypass the request. It will simply bypass the request to what, sir? To extension class loader. I will give each and every answer after end of the session. Please wait. I will give the answer. Don't worry about that. Just listen my words. If you listen carefully, all your questions answer will be here only. And if anything is remaining, you please ask the question after end of the session. Okay, please wait. So look at, whenever JVM will make a request to class loader subsystem, whenever JVM will make a request to class loader subsystem to load the required dot class file into the JVM memory, the class loader subsystem first bypass the request to application class loader. Now, application class loader will not perform anything. It will simply bypass the request or delegate the request to extension class loader. It will simply delegate the request to extension class loader. Now, this extension class loader will simply delegate the request to bootstrap class loader. Why? Why? Because bootstrap class loader has the highest priority. Bootstrap class loader has the highest priority, sir. Now, what the bootstrap class loader will do, it will search the required file. It will search the required file from jdk, jre, lib, and what rt.jar, runtime.jar. There is a jar file called rt.jar. So from that rt.jar file, it will load all the required dot class file into the JVM memory. And then again, it will bypass the request to extension class loader. Extension class loader, if any dot class, if the remaining dot class is there, then that remaining dot class is responsible to load by this extension class loader, if any. So this extension class loader, if any, okay, again I am telling, if any remaining dot class is there, then extension class loader will search the required dot class file to the ext folder, and it will load the required dot class file into the JVM memory using this ext folder. Here is our ojdbc14.jar. If you paste this ojdbc14.jar manually inside this extension folder, Sir, no problem. Your JDBC program will run, no problem. And then finally, this application class loader will search the dot class file from the environment variable, that is the class path. And then the execution will begin. So after loading the dot class file, listen carefully. After loading the dot class file, execution begin. But if you go to the sequence, if you go to the sequencer, listen, if you go to the sequence, so if you go to the sequence, so the first thing is what is number one? JVM makes a request. Listen carefully. JVM makes a request to class loader subsystem to load the dot class file. To load the dot class file. Correct or not? Yes, this is number one. Number two, at the time of loading, at the time of loading the dot class file, at the time of loading the dot class file, if any static block, now I will tell you what is static block, don't worry. At the time of loading the dot class file into JVM memory, if any static block is present in the class, if any static block is present in the class, then that static block would be executed. That static block would be executed. Would be executed. That static block would be executed, and then now JVM will search. JVM will search the main method. The main method to start the execution. To start the execution, now JVM will search the main method. Sir, this is the sequencer. Sir, this is the sequencer. Listen carefully. This is the sequence. So first of all, what will happen? Can you tell me? Yes. Look at first of all, what will happen, sir? First of all, JVM makes a request to the class loader subsystem to load the dot class file. At the time of loading the dot class file into JVM memory, if any static block is present in the class, then that static block would be executed. Now, what is static block? I'm going to explain today only. After just 5 to 10 minutes, I'm going to explain what is static block. Now, JVM will search the main method to start the execution. Now, JVM will search the main method to start the execution. Now, you may have some doubt. You may have some doubt that, sir, can we execute a Java program without main method? Now, this is an interview question as well. Can we execute a Java program without main method? Sir, in current version, it is not possible to execute a Java program without main method. I will show you practically today only. Okay. So we will discuss. Okay. Don't worry about that. Otherwise, we will distract from our original topic. But today we will discuss. Today class, we will discuss. So this is the sequencer. This is the sequence. The first sequence is JVM makes a request. Seconds, it will load the dot class file. At the time of loading, if there a static block is there, it will be executed and then it will search the main method. Now you please take this screenshot. Please take this screenshot. Okay, fine. Now listen. Very nice. Excellent, you guys are. Now, yes, very nice answer. Excellent. It's really excellent, excellent. Very nice. Now listen. So once this part is completed, so at the time of loading, sir, at the time of loading, if any static block is present, that static block will be executed for just for 1 minute. When you use class.forename to load the dot class file given by the Oracle Corporation or any of the database, like we are writing at the time of JDBC. At the time of JDBC, we used to write one statement, sir. We used to write one statement, class dot forename. You remember the total postmortem I will give you today, sir. What is class dot forename and all things? Don't worry. Sir, class dot forename, oracle dot jdbc, oracle dot jdbc dot driver dot oracle driver, oracle driver, oracle.jdbc.driver.oracle driver. This class is given by, this class is given, look at this class, oracle.jdbc.driver.oracle driver. This class is given by whom, sir? This class is given by Oracle Corporation. The name of the class is Oracle driver, and this is the name of the package, oracle.jdbc.driver. This is the name of the package, and this is actually the name of the class, Oracle driver. That's why O and D capital, O and D is capital. Why? Because it is the name of the class. So at the time of loading, at the time of loading this Oracle driver class, there is a static block inside this Oracle driver class, and that static block gets executed, and which is registering the driver manager services, okay. So just remember, at the time of loading this Oracle driver class into our Java application, internally one static block gets executed, and that static block is responsible to register the driver manager services. Okay, we will talk, don't worry. So this is one simple thing. So what I want to tell you here, what I want to tell you guys, so here we have different class loaders are responsible to load the required dot class file different location, different locations, sir. It can be from your lib folder, it can be from your extension folder, it can be from your environment variable or class path. Very nice. Now I'm going to the next point. So I hope you got this idea, delegation hierarchy algorithm. Now if you go to the theoretical part, sir, how delegation hierarchy algorithm works? Sir, whenever JVM makes a request to class loader subsystem to load the required dot class file into JVM memory, first of all, class loader subsystem makes a request to application class loader. Application class loader will delegate the request to extension class loader. Extension class loader will also delegate the request to bootstrap class loader, sir. Sir, this notes is already shared with you guys. Okay, I will talk after this class. Don't worry. Sir, bootstrap class loader will load the dot class file from the lib folder, that is rt.jar, and then bypass the request to extension class loader. Extension class loader will load the dot class file from the ext folder and bypass the request to application class loader. It will load the dot class file from environment variable into JVM memory. And now, if all the class loaders are unable to load the required dot class file into JVM memory, then we will get a runtime exception, java.lang class not found exception. Okay. So today also we will discuss this java.lang.class not found exception. Okay, fine. Now let's see. Let's see what is next. Sir, this part is completed. That means class loader is completed. Now if you go back, if you go back, listen carefully. Listen carefully, guys. If you go back, look at in the linking process. In the linking process, we have verify module, prepare module, and resolve. Now, what is the purpose of verify, prepare, and resolve? Listen carefully my words. Then we will start practical. Sir, verify module. This verify module is responsible to verify the dot class file. It ensures the correctness of dot class file. So we have successfully loaded the dot class file into JVM memory. Now whether this dot class file is a valid dot class file or not, whether this dot class file is a valid dot class file is not, this verify module will check whether the dot class file is a valid dot class file or not. There is something called bytecode verifier. There is something called bytecode verifier. That bytecode verifier is responsible to verify the bytecode. And if there is a suspicious activity, listen, if any suspicious activity is there in the dot class file, if anything, any suspicious activity means, let's say the dot class file is not generated by the valid compiler, or after after generating the dot class file, someone has tempered something, someone has modified something inside the dot class file. So immediately this verify module will verify. It will immediately stop the execution by throwing an error called java.lang.verify error. Java.lang.verify error. So what this verify module is responsible, it ensures the correctness of the dot class file. That is the reason Java is the very secure language. Java is highly secure language. That is the reason, because we have at the time of linking process, we have a verify module which internally contains bytecode verifier responsible to verify our dot class file. Any suspicious activity, immediately it will stop the execution. Immediately it will complain the JVM that boss, some suspicious activity is there in the dot class file. So please stop the execution and throw an error java.lang.verify error. Okay, that's why Java is highly secure language. If in interview someone is asking, tell me why Java is very secure, so you can happily say that, sir, at the time of linking process, we have a module called verify, which internally contains bytecode verifier. This bytecode verifier is responsible to check whether the dot class file is a valid dot class file or not. If it is not a valid dot class file, it will immediately stop the execution. Okay, I will give you the notes, don't worry about that. Now, okay, what about this prepare, sir? What about this prepare? Sir, the responsibility of this prepare module to allocate memory for static data members. Once again, the responsibility for this prepare module to allocate the memory for static data members. So let's say if you have some static data members in your class, let's assume that I have a class test. Okay, don't worry. I will give you the notes. Just listen my words very carefully. Sir, let's say inside this static int x is equal to 100. 100. Okay, what will happen? When this class will be loaded into the JVM memory, and after this verify module, what the prepare module will do, this prepare will allocate the memory, for static data member, and it will initialize the static data member with some default values. I hope you know the default values. For integer we have 0, for float we have 0 point 0, for string we have null. The values given by the default constructor, the values given by the default constructor. So automatically it will allocate the memory for a static data member, and a static data member will get initialized with some default values. So here, even you have given the value of x is equal to 100, here the value of x will be 0, or if you have any string value, then the value would be null. Remember this point. So this is the responsibility of what? This is the responsibility of prepare. What this prepare will do, it will allocate the memory for static data member with some default value. Now what this resolve will do, sir, what this resolve will do, sir, it will convert the symbolic references to direct references. Now we have number of symbolic references. Whenever we create the object, that object is referred by some instance, some reference variable. Superclass, subclass, there is a what linkage. Whenever you create the object for subclass, okay, there is a linkage between subclass and superclass. So all those references, all those symbolic references, we have number of symbols in our program, all those symbolic references are converted into direct references in this resolve module. Okay, you can check, you can see all those symbolic references will be converted into what? Into direct references. And look at, this is initialization part. Sir, what will happen in this initialization part? What will happen in this initialization part? Listen carefully. Sir, here your static data member will get the actual value. Here a static data member will get the actual value. So now here your x variable will get the 100 value. Here the value of x variable is 0, that is the default value at the prepare. But here at the time of initialization, your static data member will get the actual value. And if you have any static block is there, if you have any static block is there, that a static block will be executed here at the time of initialization. So I hope you clear with this point. Okay, let me add the notes. Okay, let me add the notes. Just keep patience. Just look at, let me add the notes. Sir, my notes is, just look at, wait. So go to the, here we have 2 p.m. Yes, this 2 p.m. Control F, and let's say class loader. It's a, already I have taught a batch. Yes, look at linking. This I will copy to your notes. Just look at, guys, all of you. Sir, this is linking. This I will copy to your notes. Sir, linking, first of all, what verify? It ensures the correctness of dot class file. If any suspicious activity is there in the dot class file, then it will stop the execution immediately by throwing an exception or error, that is java.lang verify error. There is something called bytecode verifier responsible to verify the dot class file, that is bytecode. Due to this verify module, Java is highly secure language. Now what about this prepare? It will allocate the memory for all the static data member. Here all the static data member will get the default values. So if we have a static index is equal to 100, then for x we will get the default value, that is 0, not 100, 0 at this prepare. So resolve, all the symbolic references will be converted to direct references. Internal part, internal mechanism. Initialization. In initialization, all the static data member will get their actual value, as well as if any static block is available in the class, then the static block will be executed here. So let me copy this part here from linking to initialization. Copy, and 11 a.m. batch. Let me paste. No need to this one. Yes. Don't worry about that. Yes. So this is the 11 amp batch, sir. Now tested. So I hope you got this concept. Okay. Yeah, I will give you the Google Classroom. Please let me complete the class. Let me complete the class. I will give you each and everything. Don't worry. Let me finish the class. Then we have a separate session to talk all these things. I will give you the Google Classroom link. I will give you the Google Classroom code. I will again share the entire notes today. Okay. And I will definitely answer your all questions. So let me first finish the concept. Okay. So now, so up to here, I think no problem. Okay. Up to here, I think no problem. Okay. Yes, you can take the screenshot. No problem. If you want to take the screenshot, you can take the screenshot, no problem. But of course, I will share this notes to Google Classroom. You can take the screenshot if you want. From line number 57 to 68, that is resolve. Line number 57 to 68. I hope you have taken the screenshot now. Line number 68 to just 74. Okay, I hope it is clear. Now, yeah, and this notes is for you guys only. I'm just typing the notes or copying paste the notes for you guys only. Okay, don't worry about that. Devrat, I will give you a clear picture, a high level picture. What is the symbolic reference and direct reference? Don't worry about that. there is something internal mechanism. Okay, I will tell you, I will give you the high picture. Don't worry about that, because of course we will distract from our real topic. So I hope you can understand. Now let me go with the another concept. Sir, what is next? Sir, just listen. What is next? So, of course, this class loader subsystem, we got the idea. We have nodes. Fine. That's correct. Now, sir, what is a static block, sir? What is a static block? Now, let me give you the idea what is static block. Okay, what is the static block? I hope you have taken the screenshot of this one. This one is screenshot. Please take the screenshot of this one. Now, please take. What is a static block? Listen. Sir, Java software people has provided one block. Java software people has provided one block that will be executed at a time of loading the dot class file into JVM memory. If you if you want to if you want to execute something, some code, if you want to execute something which will be executed at a time of loading the dot class file into JVM memory, then the better option is a static block. Now, how to write a static block? Look at. I hope, let's say if we have a class, let's say test, just look at, so you can see this is our default constructor, sir. This is the default constructor we have. Now if you open the curly braces and close the curly braces, then what it is, sir, it is instance block. Instance block. Instance block, sir. Constructor and instance block. Constructor and instance block both have both having a direct relation with object, both having direct relation with object. Okay, so constructor will be executed at a time of creating the object. Instance block will be also executed at a time of creating the object, but of course instance block will be executed before the constructor. Okay, but what I want to show you, I want to show you, without object, without object this constructor will not be executed. Without object this instance block also not be executed. Now we have something called static block. Let me change the color for your. Okay, now let me. We have something called a static block, sir. Very special block, something called a static block. Just like instance block, only with a static keyword. With a static keyword, it is a static block. Now, this static block doesn't have any concern with object. This static block doesn't have any concern with object. Unlike constructor and instance block, Unlike constructor and instance block, static blocks are gets executed at the time of loading the dot class file into JVM memory. At the time of loading the dot class file into JVM memory. Okay, so if you copy this one and if you try to execute one program, file new Java, let's say, okay, let's say here, sir, static block, try to understand, static block. And let's say here we have what, this is the test class. Now inside this test class, what I'm doing, inside this test class, what I'm doing, I'm just printing one simple message, system.out.println, system.out.println, sir, default constructor, sir, default constructor, default constructor, very nice. Please notice. Now, sir, this is my instance block. This is my instance block. So inside the body of this instance block, sir, what's our instance block? Instance block. Very nice. Now, inside the body of this static block, what I'm writing, let's say static block. Static block. Excellent. So you can see we have a class test, we have a default constructor, we have instance block, and we have a static block as well. Now I'm going to create the object. Sir, test T1 is equal to new test. Object is created, sir. Object is created. Test T1 is equal to new test. Object is created. Now I'm going to save this program at 11 a.m. batch. Let me save static block, copy, save. Yes, 11 a.m. static block dot Java. Very nice. Now let me run this program. Let me run this program. Test T1 is equal to new test. Sir, what will happen? Look at, first of all, when you compile this program, listen carefully, all of you. First of all, when you compile this program, first of all, test.class file and a static block.class file will be created in the memory. So you can see, if you go to the 11 a.m. batch, go to the D drive 11 a.m. Look at, we have a static block.java. So when you compile this code, look at what will happen. Of course, you will get two dot class file. Sorry, let me go to the D drive, cd java, cd 11m. Sorry, cd not java, cd 11m directly. Now just look at java c static block dot java. What will happen, sir? Static block dot class and test dot class. Two dot class file will be created, as I told you. Look at, two dot class file is created or not? Yes. Test dot class, static block dot class. Now I'm going to execute Java static block. What will happen? Of course, JVM, first of all, JVM will load this static block dot class file into the JVM memory. With the help of class loader subsystem, JVM is going to load this static block dot class into JVM memory. And then look at the time of loading, static block dot class, this static block dot class is not containing any static block, sir. Okay, so at the time of now loading this test.class file, what will happen? We have a static block. So first of all, static block gets executed. So first output you will get static block. Then here you have created the object. Then what will happen? Here you have created the object. So that's why instance block will get executed, and then only constructor will get executed. That's why intentionally I have written this program. First of all, I have written the default constructor, then what? Instance block, and then static block intentionally. So output is totally opposite, sir. First you will get a static block, then you will get instance block, and then you will get default constructor. Okay, let's say I'm going to execute my program. Sir, what is the output, sir? Static block, instance block, default constructor. Okay, but here one more thing, sir. If you create object one more time, then what will happen? Let's say if I'm creating the object one more time, then what will happen, sir? Sir, of course, static block will be executed once, because static block gets executed at the time of loading the dot class file, and dot class file will be loaded only once. But you can create objects so many times. Static blocks will be executed only once at the time of loading the dot class file. But what about this constructor and instance block? Of course, constructor and instance block will be executed as many time you create the object. So you're creating the object for the second time. Then what will happen? Of course, again the instance block and default constructor will execute. So first of all, you will get output for the first object. You will get a static block, instance block, default constructor. For the second object, you will only get instance block and default constructor. Let's see. Let me recompile. Look at instance block, default constructor, again instance block, default constructor. But what about this static block? Only once, because class is loaded only once in the JVM memory. So at the time of loading the dot class file, this static block gets executed. That is the benefit of a static block. So look at this one. Sir, what is static block? Just look at, first look at the theory part. Sir, it is a very special block in Java which will be executed at the time of loading the .class file into JVM memory by class loader subsystem. The main purpose of a static block to initialize the static data member of the class. Now I will prove this, don't worry. I will prove this. The main purpose of static block to initialize the static data member of class. A static block will be executed only once because class loading is possible only once in Java. Now, if we have multiple static blocks in Java, then it will be executed according to order. Now, this point is very important. Look at, if we have multiple static block, then it will be executed according to order, top to bottom, no problem. So let me copy this theory part and let me put to the 11 a.m. batch. Yes, yes, fine. Now let me. I want to show you one more program, sir. So this is one program. Okay, this is one program. Let me copy this program as well, and I'm going to paste it to the your batch. Look at, now it will be more easy for you guys. Everything is available in your notes. The notes is very important now. Now I'm going to execute one more class. Look at file new Java. Sir, static block order. So let's say now we have multiple static block class demo. Here let's say int x, let's say static int x, we have a variable, we have a static block. This is the static block. Now here inside this static block x is equal to 100. Now again we have a static block. Inside this static block, let's say x is equal to 200. Now again we have a static block, and inside this static block actually I want to print the value of x. I hope you are getting my point. System.out.println, sir, x value is x. Okay, now let me save this program. Sir, look at, even we don't have anything inside this main, sir. Even we don't have anything inside this main. Look at very carefully. D drive 11 a.m. static block order dot Java. Okay, we don't have anything, sir. Object is not created inside this main. Look at very carefully. Nothing. Only we have a static block. We have a variable static index. Now first static block x value is 100, second static block x value is 200, and then in the third static block I want to print the value of x. I hope you know the output. Of course it will print what, 200. First of all, this static block will make the value 100. The second static value variable as a static block will make the value of x 200, and then finally this static block will print the value of x. But look at, very important, we don't have we don't have anything inside this main method. Okay, let me Java C static. Perfect. So when you run this one, okay, wait. Okay, of course, this main method should be inside this. We have to load the class actually. So let me create the object. Demo D is equal to new demo. Of course, how to load the class now. Otherwise, you can write the main method inside the same class. Okay, so here what's our x value is 200. X value is 200, correct or not? Okay, x value is 200. How, there is something now, how you will load this dot class file, how would you load this demo dot class file? So of course you need to create the object, correct or not? Otherwise you need to write this main method inside this class demo, then possible, no problem. Now let me copy this one and let me put it here. Fine. Now, okay, paste the output, sir. Sir, then what you will do, sir? Please, it's not possible to paste the output also, sir. Otherwise, you will carry this file for your interview room, huh? So now I'm going to two dot class file created. Okay. Most of the times you are not asking question. Most of the times you are replying, sir. We can say instance block as a non-static block. Yeah, why not? You can say instance block as a non-static block. Yes, your answer. I think instance means within the class, sir. Yeah, yeah, that's true. Instance means within the class. At the time of compile, all the static variables are placed inside the static block, na sir. All the static variables are placed inside the static block. No, 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 not like that. Not like that. Static blocks are initializer, a static initializer. So you can, of course, you can what? You can use static blocks to initialize your static data members. Okay. Also, no question, only reply. Okay. Now let me go with the next concept. Let me go with the next concept, sir. What is next concept? Listen very carefully. What is next concept? Sir, the next concept, what is the next concept? How to load the dot class file, how to load the dot class file dynamically, dynamically or explicitly. Sir, if I want to load the dot class file explicitly, like we face one problem, we face one problem now, we have to create the object to load this demo dot class file, and once this demo dot class file will be loaded, then only the static block gets executed. Correct or not? Once we create the object, then that means what? We are requesting the JVM to load this demo dot class file. Correct or not? Here, demo d is equal to new demo. This means what, sir? We are requesting the JVM, please load this demo dot class file. And once this demo dot class file will be loaded, of course, static block gets executed. Okay, correct or not? Yes, correct. Totally correct. Now, I want to load explicitly. I want to load explicitly. Then what to do? Sir, how to load the dot class file dynamically or explicitly? Sir, Java software people has provided a predefined class. Sir, very important class. Look at lot of interview questions from this particular topic. Java software people has provided a predefined class called class. Called class. Let me change the color. Called class. Sir, available in java.lang package. Available in java.lang package. Available in what, sir? Java.lang package. This is a predefined class, sir. This is a predefined class called class, available in java.lang package. This class contains this class contains a predefined static method, predefined static method for name. Look at for name. This class contains predefined static method for name through which we can load the required dot class file into JVM memory dynamically. Okay, remember this point. Sir, this class contains a predefined static method for name through which we can load the requires dot class file into JVM memory. So what is the statement for this class? Sir, look at class and we have a static method. That's why what? For name, and here we will write the name of the dot class file. Let's say I want to load test dot class. So I will put what? Test. I will put what? Test. Okay. Class dot forename test. That means I want to load test dot class file into JVM memory. Sir, I want to load the test dot class file into JVM memory. Are you getting my point? Yes. I want to load this test dot class file into JVM memory. Now, I hope you remember in exception handling, you must have heard about checked exception. You must have heard about checked exception while working with while exception handling. And I will give you the idea. Don't worry. If you don't know checked exception, no worry. In exception handling, I will give you the idea. Sir, checked exceptions are very common exception in Java. Checked exceptions are very common exception in Java, and compiler take very much care about checked exception. Compiler takes very much care about checked exception. Okay, so here the compiler will throw a checked exception that boss, you are going to load test.class file, but at runtime if the test.class file is not available, then what how would you handle? Listen my words very carefully. Sir, by using this particular statement class dot forename test, you are planning to load test dot class file into JVM memory at runtime. But you did not report me. You did not report me that if the test dot class file is not available at runtime, then what you will do? How would you handle that situation? So suddenly you will ask, then compiler, please tell me what to do. Then compiler will give you two options. Compiler will give you two options, sir. Compiler will give you two options. First option is what? Just put that statement inside the try catch. Put the statement inside the try catch, so you can easily handle the exception. Or you can declare the method as throws. You can declare the method as throws, no problem. You can go with any approach. So of course here what I can use try catch. Look at, I can use try catch, try catch or throws. Correct or not? Yes, or throws. Now let me give you one simple demonstration program. First let me copy this one. How to load the dot class file dynamically or explicitly. Now before going to actual part, one more thing. Before going to actual part, let me give you one more idea. Sir, one more thing I want to give you that note. We can't execute a Java program without main method. This is the interview question. Without main method. Up to JDK 1.6, up to JDK 1.6, it was possible, to execute a Java program without main method, without main method by writing the static block, by writing the static block. Sir, listen. If in the interview room, interviewer is going to ask you, can you run Java program without main method? Your answer would be yes. Yes, of course we can run Java program without main method. But sir, you need to use the compiler up to JDK 1.6 compiler. If you are using, then you can execute. But from JDK 1.7 onwards, then from JDK 1.7 onwards, now Java software people has removed this facility. Now if you want to execute any program in Java, compulsory you have a main method. Compulsory. Without main method we can't execute Java program now. So your answer would be yes, we can execute a Java program without main method, but up to JDK 1.6 version. Up to JDK 1.6 version, we can execute our Java program without main method. So we can't execute a Java program without main method, but up to JDK 1.6, it was possible to execute a Java program without main method by writing the static block. From JDK 1.7 onwards, 1.7 onwards. Now we can't execute, we can't execute Java programs, Java program without main method. I hope you got this concept. Now, sir, let me go with the practical part, sir. So I hope you got this concept. You are not facing any problem. Just simple, sir. Without main method, it was possible up to JDK 1.6. From JDK 1.7, now it's not possible. They remove this facility. They remove this facility, sir. If you go look at, I have the program, but it is again wasting, I think. If you go to this Java and you go to the introduction, intro, now we have a program without main. Look at this was the program, sir. This was the program. You can execute this program with up to JDK 1.6 version. Static block system.out.println hello world, and then system.exit 0 to terminate JVM. To terminate JVM explicitly system.exit 0. But now it's not possible. Now it's not possible. Okay, fine. So now let me write one program on what? On class.forename. Let's see. So let's say class dynamic loading, and let's say I have a class foo. I hope you are getting everything. Now inside this foo class I have a static block, and here let's say system.out.println. It is a static block. It is a static block. Now, sir, of course, look at, sir, class dot forename class dot forename. What I can write, sir? What I can write? I can write the class name as what, sir? Let's say foo. So that means I want to load this foo dot class file. Of course, after compilation, we will get dynamic loading dot class and foo dot class. Correct or not? Yes, sir. Dynamic loading dot class and foo dot class. Now I want to load this foo dot class dynamically. So once I want to load this foo dot class dynamically, we have what? Class dot forename foo. So of course, if this statement is loading this foo dot class file, how it can prove practically? Sir, of course, if you get the output system.out.println, it is a static block. That means it is 100% pakka that what, sir, this foo.class file is loaded into the JVM memory, because static blocks are executed at the time of loading the dot class file into JVM memory. Say yes or no? Yes. So let me run this program, but class.forename throwing the exception. So throws, oh, not here in the main method, throws what, sir? Throws, you can write exception, or you can even write a specific one, class not found exception. Let me run this program. Let me compile first dynamic loading. Dynamic loading dot Java. Very nice. Java C dynamic loading dot Java. Is there any error? No, we don't have any error. Now let me run this program. Yes, sir. It is a static block. Perfect, sir. Perfect. That means we can happily load any dot class file into JVM memory explicitly, dynamically, by using those class dot forename statement. By using this class dot forename statement, we can happily write any program. We can happily load any program. No problem. Yes or no? No problem at all. Fine. So let me copy this one and let me paste it to your file. So this is the program. Correct or not? Yes. This is the program, sir. Okay, so I hope you remember with this sentence, try catch or throws, because this is throwing what? Exception, class not found exception. So it throws a checked exception. A checked exception, that is class java.lang. java.lang.class not found exception. Yes. And then this is the program. Now I have one question. Look at now I have one question. I have one question. What is that question, sir? Let's see. So this we got this point, no problem. Now, sir, here if I want to load student class, possible or not? Not possible. Because of course this class dot forename will search student dot class file. This class dot forename will search student dot class file, but unfortunately the student dot class file is not available. The student dot class file is not available. Correct or not? Look at it is a static block. This is the output of this program. This is the output of this program is what? Of course this line is executing or not. Once this line is executing, that means what? Static block gets executed. In the output window, if you are getting it is a static block 100%, then this static block gets executed. When the static block gets executed, when this foo.class file has successfully loaded into the JVM memory. So this class.4 name is used to load .class file into JVM memory dynamically. So we can dynamically load this .class file into JVM memory. Correct or not? Yes, correct. Very nice. Now, sir, if I want to load this student dot class file into JVM memory, possible or not possible? 100% not possible. Why? Because, sir, why? Because this student dot class file is not available, sir. Look at this student dot class file is not available. So once it is not available, how this class dot for name will load the student dot class file? Because the student dot class file is not available. So what will happen? It will throw an exception java dot lang class not found exception. Look at sir, what, sir? Java.lang class not found exception. Which class? Student class. Java.lang class not found exception. Class not found exception. I hope you are getting this point. Now, sir, look at what is the difference between java.lang class not found exception and java.lang no class def found error. Interview question. Interview question. Sir, look at java.lang class not found exception. It occurs when we try to load the required .class file at runtime. It occurs when we try to load the required .class file at runtime. Runtime. This runtime is very important. This runtime is very important. At runtime, by using class.forename statement, and if the .class file, if the required .class file, it would be more better. If the required .class file is not available at runtime, then we will get an exception. What, sir? Java.lang class not found exception. Class not found exception. So this is the theory part. This is the theory part. We got the idea. If the required .class file is not present, if the required .class file is not present, then what will happen? Of course, we will get what? Java.lang class not found exception. Now, someone is asking some question. What questions, or what happen if we don't write exception? If in case separately create a student and pass, then of course Subham, if you create only if you write a student, not all. Look at Subham is asking one question, you do one thing, you just write this one class student. That's all. That's all, no problem. Because the moment you will compile the program, what will happen? Student dot class file will be created. Student dot class file is created or not? Yes, created. Now you run this program, perfect, no problem. No problem. You won't get any exception. Why? Because student dot class file is available, sir. Student.class file is available, and it is not showing any output because we are not loading this foo.class file. Okay, so no need to worry. Now one person is asking that, sir, what happens if we don't write? If you don't write this throws, of course you will get unreported exception. Unreported exception. Let's say what compiler is telling you. Unreported exception. Yes, unreported exception. Sir, you are trying to load this student.class file. You are trying to load this student.class file, but you did not report me. If this student.class file is not available at runtime, how would you handle, sir? How would you handle that situation if the student.class file is not available at runtime? How would you handle? Okay, I hope you got this point. Now, what are the other questions? Multiple multiple classes need to be means what multiple classes? I am not getting your question. You can't write same class with same name. Yeah, you can load both the classes, no problem. You have to write two class dot phone name statement. Yes, you can load, no problem. Multiple classes you can load. You need to write multiple class dot phone name statement. What is the problem? Not found exception is a checked exception, sir. Class not found is a checked exception. Where you are, where you were. Look at, please be in the class. Sir, it is not possible to paste the output, sir, because that is on the command line. Yeah, not compulsory. Sanket, not compulsory. You can use throws or you can declare try catch. Just try to learn checked exception. What is the difference between checked exception and unchecked exception? You will get the no. Checked exceptions are always at compilation time. Narshima, your concept, you have a wrong concept. Checked exceptions are always checked by compiler, not JVM. Checked exceptions are common exception, so checked by compiler. Yeah, that's true. To handle checked exception, which is better, try catch or throw? Sir, always try catch is better. Always try catch is better, Binayak. Always try catch is better approach. Why? Because when you write try catch, what will happen? You have your own message to handle the exception. Okay, you have your own message to handle the exception. Let's say I am showing you very nice question you have asked. So instead of this throws exception, sir, what you can do? You can just put this. Look at. You can just put this try catch here. And what will happen here? You can write class not found exception. Look at all of you. Class not found exception. Look at all of you. Very nice question he has asked. Now, let me save this program. And now inside this catch block, what you can write? System.err.println. It is an error message, sir. That's why system.err.println. Now, if you print E, okay, if you print E, okay, and now try to run this program dynamic loading. Java C dynamic loading.java. And when you run this program, okay, let me show what is going on. Yeah, so look at, so okay, actually student.class file is present, sir. Student.class file is already available. Once I compiled the program previously, so student class file was present, sir. Even you have removed from the source code. So take another class, employee. Because once you compile, earlier we compiled na. So student.class file is present. Now you take this one. Look at, sir, java.lang class not found exception employee. Getting or not? Because student.class file was present, sir. Yeah. Okay. Now listen. Sir, listen, very important point I'm going to explain. Now let's say this is your program. Listen, very important point I'm going to explain. Then I will go to the another concept. Then I will go to the another concept. Sir, very important point. Now let's say this is your program and you have developed for your client. And your client is responsible to pass the class name. So first day, if your client is passing foo, your client is passing foo, okay, so you can say, sir, how the client will pass directly in the source code. Okay, correct or not? Yes, let's say args of 0, command line argument. I hope args of 0, command line argument. Now let me pass. So first day, that's, let's say, let me compile this program and let me run this program. At the time of running, I'm passing foo. Sir, it is a static block, no problem. At the time of executing, I am passing student. Nothing will happen because student dot class file is present. Sir, at the time of passing, I am passing employee. 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 Sir, what will happen? Java dot lang class not found exception. Suppose your client is giving the class name at runtime. Okay, your client is providing the class name at runtime. So you are getting this message java dot lang dot class not found exception. Very important point I'm going to explain. Listen. So most of the times I have seen in my career, most of the times I have seen when I ask some interview question from the student, what is the purpose of exception handling? You know that what is the answer from the student? The common answer, most of the time, common answer I got from the student, sir, the main purpose of exception handling to stop the abnormal situation. To stop the abnormal situation, if we don't use exception handling, what will happen? If you don't use exception handling, what will happen? The program will terminate in the middle. And if you use exception handling, the program will be, of course, even you have exception, the program will be terminated normally. The program will be terminated normally. But if you don't use exception handling mechanism, the program will be terminated abnormally. In the middle of the code, the program will halt. But sir, the main purpose of exception handling from the real-time industry to provide some user-defined meaningful messages for user. Let's say I'm providing the message, class is not available. Class is not available. This is the main purpose of exception handling. Please check. So what message I am giving to my client? Sir, class is not available. Please check again. So what the client will do? Client, let me compile the program again. The client will compile. Let's say my client, I am a client. I'm running. I'm giving foo. No problem. Perfect. I'm giving student. No problem. Perfect. I'm giving employee. Sir, class is not available. Please check again. So your client will become very happy, sir. Your client will become very happy. Okay, and instead of this user defined message, if you only print e, what will happen? Your client is a non-technical person, sir, your client is a non-technical person. Your client doesn't know Java. Your client doesn't know Java. So now java.lang, think like that you don't know Java. Java.lang class not found. You won't get anything. You won't get anything. Okay, and you will become angry on developer. What is the code? What it is giving? But if you are providing a proper message, let's say I'm providing a proper message, then client will become very happy, sir. The client will become very happy. Try to understand. The client will become very happy. Why? Because now client will tell to his friend. Listen, client will tell to his friend, his colleague, that what is this? What a software it is. What a software it is. If you do some mistake, it will tell you. The client will become your fan. Okay, the client will become your fan because if you are doing some mistake, the software is replying you. Don't put zero, sir. Sir, class is not available. So this is the main purpose of exception handling. So make sure in the interview room, of course, your first statement is exception handling is used to terminate our program normally, not abnormal termination. Our program will execute it normally even if you have number of exception. But the second very important point, to provide the user defined message, to give the user defined message to our client, we are using exception handling. Very nice. Okay, so I hope you got this point. So class dot for name. Now here, let me give some time, sir. So what is the difference? So let me copy this part. Okay, just look at here, paste it here, and after that you paste the program. This is, sir, it is not possible to paste the output, sir. Okay, dynamic loading. So from here you can take the classes, take the files from the your client. Okay, don't forget to pass command line argument. It is a program on command line argument. Okay, I hope. So let me comment it, command line argument. Otherwise, what will happen? Java.lang array index out of bound exception. Okay, fine. Now, sir, now let me go with the another concept. So I hope you got the idea what how you will get this class not found exception. Look at, sir, it occurs if interviewer is asking what is the difference between java.lang class not found exception and no class def found error. So now you have a very good idea when this java.lang class not found exception will occur. Sir, very simple. Whenever you try to load whenever you try to load the required dot class file at runtime, look at this line, this particular word is very important, at runtime by using this statement, and if the required dot class file is not available, you will get this. Okay, now let me go to write one more program. Let's say, listen carefully, let's say class hello, and here there is a method, let's say welcome. Class hello, there is a method welcome, system.out.println, system.out.println. Sir, hello learner. Suppose this is the message, and let's say class no class def found error demo. Copy this one, save, D drive, 11 a.m. batch dot Java. So look at here what I'm doing, sir. Hello h is equal to new hello, and then h dot welcome, h dot welcome. Hello h is equal to new hello, and then h dot welcome. It's simple, sir. You will get the output hello learner. Look at Java C no class def found error demo.java, and when you run this program, of course you will get what? Hello learner. Sir, when we compile this program, you tell me, of course we will get hello.class file and no class def found error demo.class file. So if you go to the file, look at here, you are getting hello.class file. Look at the time, 12:24. So here you will get a hello.class file. Now if you remove this hello.class file from here, if you delete this hello.class file from here, look at, I'm going to delete this one. Now hello.class file is deleted, sir. Hello.class file is deleted, and now if you try to run this program, if you try to run this program, now hello.class file is deleted. Now JVM JVM doesn't find hello.class file. Now what will happen? Now you will get no class def found error. Look at, sir, now what you are getting, java.lang no class def found error hello. No class def found error hello. That means listen carefully. That means the class name was present at compilation time, but the required dot class file is not available at runtime. Sir, class name was present at compilation time. That's why I told you that look at this word runtime. Runtime. In java.lang class not found exception, there is no concern with compilation time. That is the main difference. There is no concern with compilation time in case of java.lang class not found exception. But what about no class def found error, sir? Sir, no class def found error. Look at java.lang no class def found error. It occurs when the class was present at the time of compilation, but at the runtime the required dot class file is not available. Manually deleted by user. Manually deleted by user, then we will get an exception java.lang no class def found error. So I hope you are getting this point. Sir, what is the main difference between these two? Sir, the major difference is in case of no class def found error, the class was present at compilation time. The class was present at compilation time. Look at this point. Look at this word. The class was present at compilation time, but one time the required dot class file is not available, manually deleted by the user. Then you will get what? java.lang no class def found error. But if there is no concern with the compilation time in the case of class not found exception. Class not found exception, the required dot class file is not available at runtime. Then only you will get class not found exception. But what about no class def found error? Sir, class was present at compilation time, but the dot class file is not available at runtime. So now you copy this one and you paste it to 11 a.m. batch. And here note, delete the hello.class file after compilation. Okay, delete the hello.class file after compilation and then execute the program. And then execute the program. Of course, what you will get, sir? Of course, what you will get? No class def found error. So I hope it is clear. Okay, everything is fine. Okay, so today's agenda is very clear. Now, now today's agenda is very clear. Now listen carefully. What I want to explain. So up to here we have completed, sir. Okay, up to here we have completed. Class loader subsystem is completed, sir. So this entire part is done. Now from this static block, we have one more interview question. That is our tomorrow agenda. Listen carefully, all of you. Tomorrow agenda. It look at the next question is what is the drawback of new keyword? What is the drawback of new keyword? This is our tomorrow session, sir. After this tomorrow class, I will give you the garbage collector concept, sir. One of the most important concept, garbage collector. By using the garbage collector concept, you can find out the output of any complex program. So tomorrow's class is the one of the most important class in our Java session. In our Java session, tomorrow's class is more important class. I will give you heap and stack diagram. I will give you heap and stack diagram. Okay, so tomorrow class is very very important. Please attend. So I will give you garbage collector concept. I will give you what is the problem, what is the drawback with new keyword. Okay, so tomorrow garbage collector heap and stack diagram. Internally, I will create the heap and stack diagram. So in any program output, complex to complex program output, you can find out the output. No problem. Sir, can we get job without having knowledge of DSA? Yes, yes, you can get. No problem. No problem. You just practice more and more, practice more and more, you will get a job. Now let me go. Let me go with the notes concept. Now listen here. I have a yeah. Now don't write anything. Now just let me finish my task. So let me go with this notes concept. Please wait. More doubts cleared. Subham, you are what you have any doubt or you are telling that doubts are clear? Oh, doubts are cleared. Okay, thanks. Yeah, Sarvan, you can leave the session. Of course, anyone want to leave the session can leave the session. Nice explanation. Thank you. Thanks a lot. So now let me go with the Google Classroom. So this is your link, sir. Core Java placement batch. So if you click here, look at so yesterday I have submitted this notes 11 a.m. text, and this is the code, sir. Class code. You can join directly from the class code. Look at this is the class code, and I'm doing one thing. I'm just uploading the notes and sharing with you guys. Link I'm sharing with you guys. Just look at wait. Please wait. So let me upload today's notes. Let me first delete this file. So 11 a.m. 21 January 22. Now I'm going to post, copy link. Now I'm sharing this link with you guys. Just wait, all of you. Yeah, I have shared the link. You can connect. Yeah, of course it will help you. Of course, you only practice, nothing else. Now your work is only practice, 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 nothing else. You just practice more and more, more and more. I will cover almost all the interview question. 30 to 35 days I will cover almost all the interview question. Okay, practically. I will focus more and more on practical session. And meanwhile, you can. I will also give you a theoretical question. Okay, and at last, after end of this session, I will share all those 7,000 programs with you guys, so you can practice, and you can practice, and you can. If you are unable to join, please ask to the please ask to the admin. Please, this is your Google Classroom code, sir. This is the code. You can join from the code as well, or otherwise you can ask to the admin. I have shared the link with you guys. Better to ask with the admin. They will. So please ask to the admin. Okay, might be admin has not added you in the Google Classroom. Yeah, yeah, you can left. So anyone is getting the notes. So please concern with the admin. Please concern with the admin. Yeah, someone is telling joined. Venkatesh is telling joined. Yeah, Pooja is telling joined. Pooja, are you getting the notes? Just confirm me once. Sir, I have a Oracle class at the time of your class time. Okay, so I can't. Rahul, you can better to talk with the admin. Admin means what? The person who is adding you in the Google Classroom for your doubt clearance. Sangram, your explanation is awesome. Thank you so much. Okay, so that's all for today, guys. Don't forget to join tomorrow class. Tomorrow is the one of the most important class. Thank you all of you. Have a nice day. And I will also talk to the admin that you guys will get the notes. Okay. Okay. Mehtab is telling joined. Fine. Yeah, Pooja is saying thank you. Thank you all of you. So let me finish this today's session. Thanks all of you.